So these properties, we've already seen the properties for addition. Now we have the properties for multiplication, commutative, order doesn't matter. Okay, I'm just going to go through them quickly. The associative property, it doesn't matter how you group them, just like with addition. And then the identity property of multiplication just says that, let me see if I can make that bigger. No? Okay. When you multiply a number by 1, it retains its identity. It doesn't change. And then the zero property, as you know, when you multiply a number by 0, you get 0. Okay. So if you take a look at this one, all that's moved here are the parentheses. The order of the terms is the same. So what property does that represent? If you look at the ones on your sheet. Yeah.
Associative.
Associative. And it's the associative property of multiplication. All right. Now what about this one, number 2? The numbers that traded places. So what property is that? Okay, go ahead and take a sheet and sign in.
Commutative.
Commutative, good. Go ahead and take your sheet and sign in. And we're just looking at the properties of multiplication. Okay, 7 times 0 equals 0. What property is that? What property was this? Yeah.
0.
0 property of multiplication. All right, what about this one? Yeah, identity, good. All right, and back, what's this one? This one's a little trickier. What's going on in that? What's going on here? Negative 37 times 1 is the same thing as 1 times negative 37. So they've just traded places. So what is that?
Is it associative?
It's
Or identity?
it's commutative. But what threw you off, I think, are the parentheses and the 1, right?
Yeah.
This could be a 2 also, couldn't it? And then you see that it's commutative? Does everybody see that? Okay. All right. What about this one? The 2, the 9, and the x don't change their order, but the parentheses move. So what's that property? Associative, exactly. So if you have 7 times 2 times 4, that's the same as 7 times 2 times? What would go there? 4, exactly. And anybody know what property that is? Only the parentheses have moved. Associative. That's the one where only the parentheses move. Okay, x times blank equals 15. What property? Commutative. I know. So 5x times what equals 0? 0. And what's the property?
0 property.
0 property of multiplication. So the distributive property, most of you should be familiar with the distributive property. If I have a times b plus c, I just multiply a times b and then a times c. If there's a plus sign in the middle, then there's a plus sign here. If there's a subtraction sign, then there's a subtraction sign there. And so here are some examples. 2 times x plus 5 is 2 times x plus 2 times 5. Same with this one, 6 times y minus 2 is 6 times y minus 6 times 2. Now, the thing that the common mistake is to forget to multiply by this second number. Okay. So let's try this. Use the distributive property to write an equivalent expression. So this would be the same as, now remember I'm multiplying 5 by x, and then I'm multiplying 5 by negative 4, which is negative 20. Okay, so I end up with my subtraction sign. Now this one's tricky, and this is where we see a common mistake also. You're distributing the negative. So you could think of this as a negative 1 out here, because that's really what it is. Okay, so it's negative x, and then the negative 1 times the negative 3 gives you a positive 3. So negative of negative 3 would be the opposite of negative 3. So we've got to remember if there's anything negative out here to distribute that negative. So you guys give it a try right here.
I got negative 7x plus 35.
X. Now it's a negative 7 times 5, so that's minus 35. Okay? Okay. Now, we've already done some simplifying expressions where we're combining like terms. But now, before we combine like terms, we have to do the distributive property sometimes. Okay? So not in this one, but also in this one. So basically, you have to get rid of your parentheses. And then you look for like terms and start combining them, but it can help to change the order of the terms before you combine them. If that helps you, you should do it. You don't have to show that step, but if it helps you, you absolutely should. Okay, so for this one, I've got to do the distributive property. So 2 times x, and then 2 times negative 1, whoops, 2, okay, plus 5x. Now, I have like terms here and here, and I need to combine them. Now, if it helps, I can change the order. Now, what you need to remember is that this negative sign is part of this too. It's part of this term. So it doesn't affect the term in front of it. So I have 2x plus 5x, using the commutative property, minus 2. This is the same thing as that. And then it's easier to see how to combine my like terms. And remember, to combine like terms, we want to add the coefficients. So 2 plus 5 is 7x. And then I still have my minus 2. And you cannot simplify this anymore because these aren't like terms. This one doesn't have an x. Okay, so the same thing here. If you want to change the order, you could move this over. So it'd be 6t plus 4t. Now remember, this minus is part of that 3. So minus 3 plus 9. So then I can combine my like terms. The 6t plus the 4t gives me 10t. And these are like terms. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. And then I'm done. So you give this one a try. Yeah?
I really might be wrong, but
It's okay, we'll
I
try.
think it's 3a plus 2.
Negative 3a?
Yeah.
Negative 3a. And you're almost there. It's not plus 2,
It's mine.
because you need to multiply the negative 4 by the 2, right? So minus 8, because negative 4 times 2. So we got to remember to distribute first. Does that make sense?
It's
Okay, because we're using the distributive property on this to get rid of our parentheses before we add our a. So basically what happens is you've got a minus 4a, and then you have the negative 4 times the 2 is minus 8. And then I'm combining these like terms to get negative 3a minus 8.